When we're ready, we'll start with Jane. Yeah.
Michael, Rangers have been there before, haven't they? 2 each. Can lightning strike twice?
I think so, yeah, of course. Naturally, we'll go across and be extremely positive. There was moments of tonight's game where I thought we were very good. I thought we scored 2 good goals. I thought all night we caused them problems defensively. There was areas of the game that we'd want to improve in, for sure. But everything's to play for. We wanted to set up next week. We never had the game fully under control because at this level and against the level of opponent we're playing against, it's hard to have the game fully under control. But with 10 or 12 minutes to go, we had the result under control. So we'd be super disappointed with conceding from a set play because Jack had a good game without having to make big saves, and then we have the massive opportunity even after that to win the game. So we need to get rid of the frustration. It won't help us. We need to reset. Obviously, we have a game in between, which might be a good thing to keep our mind on, and then we'll go across to Eindhoven, and it's a cup final.
You mentioned there, obviously, the frustration. At 2-1, I guess you're looking to hold on. How frustrating was it to concede that goal? And also in terms of going out there, it's going to be a different game, isn't it, on their backyard? Is it a concern that you've conceded it?
It's always a concern when you concede off a set play, but we'll even that up next week. That's the message to the players. No, set plays are an important part of the game, and if we defend that moment well, then we go next week with a lead. Now, the way it is, we've got to go away from home and get a result to go through. The club's done it before. We've played a lot in Europe the last few years. Our away form's been good. We played against an opponent tonight that's not been beat in many months, and clearly it's a good team. It's been well invested in, but there's areas in their team we can hurt them, and it's important that next week we need to show 10% more. I think tonight, for my new group of players, it was a really important night. There was moments in the game where we struggled, but we fought really hard for each other. There was moments in the game where we did well. The crowd played a big part of it as well. Delighted for Abdullah Sima scoring. Delighted for Rabbi Matondo to score his first goal. The fans now will get behind those guys for sure. But I thought Cyril Dessers tonight, he also showed why he's come into the club. I thought he won the tussle between the 2 centre-backs and he comes away with 2 assists, and I'm delighted with him.
2 cracking goals, as you've talked about there, and the last kind of 10 minutes or so, you had a real good grip on the game. How much do you take from that going into the second leg?
Yeah, we take a lot from it. Look, it's a new team in terms of coming together, a lot of new players. There was moments in the game I'd like us to show a bit more composure and make more passes. I think it will make the game easier for us and we can stay with the ball a little bit more. That was the message, but the resistance is against a good opponent. Next week, somebody has to win, and with the crowd, they'll obviously come for us, but that will give us spaces that we don't have domestically, and with some of the pace that we have and some of the players we have, that gives us big opportunities.
David?
Michael, you mentioned there Rabbi Matondo. You'd said a couple of weeks ago about perhaps bringing in a winger or finding one from within the club. Is Rabbi beginning to make you think that he could be the guy that does that?
Yeah, when I came into the club, he'd had a knee issue that was long-standing, and in every game that Rabbi's played for Rangers, there's been moments for him to score on assist, and it all comes down to his final pass or his final shot. He's aware of that. He come back for pre-season and come back in great condition. And he's had a real go, and I'm pleased for him. I think the last 2 or 3 performances he's done really well. He gives us something we don't have, but also we have a lot of variety and we want to keep the opponents guessing, and I think him and Abdullah give us something a little bit different this year that we maybe didn't have all times last year. And I just felt that the spaces in this game, it was made for Rabbi. That's why he come into the squad, and he obviously rewarded himself with the goal.
Martin?
Michael, you spoke about the frustration at losing that second goal, but on the flip side, how heartened are you by the response to that moment and the way that your team finished the game? Probably should have taken a lead into next week.
I think with this new team coming together, you want to see some good signs from them. And tonight, when we were struggling, we fought for each other, we run for each other, we problem solved on the pitch. We're a team that generally and usually has between 60 and 70% possession. Tonight was a different type of performance. The weekend will be different again. This new group are learning very, very quickly. And I think nights like tonight bring them together. I don't want anybody to underestimate us next week, because it's in our club to go and put this performance on, and we'll have our thousands travelling over there as fans, and as a team we're going there to get this job done, and we'll give it everything we can. It's a cup final, and I think tonight for my group of players, will, as a new team, they need nights like tonight. Well, I think the tie is evenly set. I don't think that them and their coach are travelling back home thinking this is a job done. They'll know how hard physically that game was. At the end of the game, it looked like they had 1 or 2 bumps and bruises as well. So, listen, it's finely tuned. I think that the 2 penalty boxes are going to be decisive. It's important that you play well between them, but the most important thing is you take your chances when they come. For my team, the few chances we got tonight, I was actually much more pleased compared to the domestic form where we're creating a lot more and being wasteful. I thought the 2 goals we scored tonight were excellent goals.
Caps.
Michael, you talk about being a big night for your new team. Do you feel that this was the best performance you've seen from them this season? And if so, how much encouragement can that give you that in 7 days' time you can improve again?
It's the only time we've had to defend. It's the only time in the games that we've played, in all fairness to the domestic games, the 3 domestic games and the 2 games against Servette, we had the majority of possession. Tonight was a different type of game. There were spells in the game where we really had to defend. We had less possession, and it gives you different things and different qualities to show. So it was the best performance in a certain way. But in the way that we want to play, of course, I would like us to have more possession, more spells in the game where we show more composure, because that will lead to more chances. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest performance I've ever seen from my group of players, because I've got high ambition for this group, domestically and in Europe. So I think we can go again, and let's hope that this time next week we're talking about even a more complete performance from them.
Can I just get a quick word on Glenn Kamara been linked with Leeds today? Can you give us an update on that situation, please?
Nothing that I've heard about that. So unless anything's happened while we're preparing for the game, no, there's nothing concrete on that right now.
Stevie?
Michael, just on that, you commented on the players having to battle for each other, and when there's a lot of kind of positives for the fans, immediate, kind of response from them has been a sense of pride in the performance tonight and the fact that they gave us absolutely everything. Do you feel that as well?
Yeah, I feel that as well. I think, listen, battling qualities and working hard defensively, it's so much easier to see that visually as a team working hard. And when we're playing against low blocks and people are running off the ball, you don't always see the same level of work. I'll assure you that the performance at the weekend, the distances covered will be very similar to the tonight. But I think for this group of players, having to sweat and run and make tackles and blocks for each other and to play against an elite opponent where you don't get it your own way are really important things in team building. I was here from, as everyone knows, for 3.5 years. That team wasn't built in day one. When we played Scoopy here in Europe, that team compared to the team that was beating Porto here and Feyenoord and then went on to beat Leipzig and Dortmund, there was a lot of grey days to get to there. I get everyone wants it now. I'm at the front of that queue. No one's more frustrated than me, but sometimes I've got to be positive about it. Tonight was a step in the right direction. Let's focus on next week in what is a huge, huge game for the club.
Robert, and then one more.
Michael, did Todd Cantwell played a great part in the second goal, but did I see you at one point try to calm him down a little bit? This kind of challenge he threw himself into, was that he's trying to kind of get him to keep his cool at that point?
Yeah, because look, there's times and places where you have to make fouls and tackles, and that wasn't one. That one, he just needs to be careful. And now, listen, he's usually on the end of things like that, so there's another side of it where I like him to show his grit and stuff like that. This is a new level again for Todd. He's not played in Europe in his career. He's obviously played youth international football, but he's not played in Europe as a player. So this is a new level for him again. The level compared to domestic football goes through the roof. If you look at some of the players they have, and listen, I think he would have learnt a lot from tonight as well. He had a fantastic part in the second goal, but it's tough to get on the ball against these teams, and they counter-press well, and they're athletic, and they're very organised. So that's why I say that this is the best learning thing for our team, but the most important thing is next week we try to get the right result for everybody.
Final question?
Michael, you mentioned there about PSV getting the weekend off, which I think did happen last year as well. As you as a manager this early in the season, would you rather take this sort of positivity into the weekend in another game, or would you prefer the break?
To be fair, we need to play this weekend in the league. You know, we had a disappointing first result. We backed that up with a 4-0, and it's important that we play this weekend. In future seasons, I think there's a discussion to be had, because in this first batch of the season, we'll play 9 games and some people will play 4 or 5. So I don't think that's fair, but it's the reality of being at a big club, so we mustn't moan about it. But I do feel that if other countries are helping their team have time to prepare, I would love time on the training pitch at the minute. We've played every 3 days, and every 3 days the team gets judged with 9 new players coming in. Everything gets judged. So yeah, I would like a little bit more time, but we need to go to Ross County this weekend and we need to win a game of football. And we've got more than enough time to recover from that and prepare to go and give it everything we can in Eindhoven.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool.